How to draw faster for Art Fight Part 2. This is a second part and it will be quick because you're still procrastinating, aren't you? Part 4. Rendering. Don't do cell shading like in my last post. Use how render works, kinda. Rendering's a bit complicated to explain and simplify if you haven't been doing it for a while. I learned how to render within the year as that was my art fight resolution. I think the best person who has ever explained how I do it is Angel Ganiv, who with occlusion shading. So if you want a more extended explanation of what I'm attempting, go to his channel. I separated my shading style to 3.5 parts. Biggest shading, transitioning, occlusion shadows, and another transitioning shadow. When you first shade, don't care that it's messy. What matters is that you put it down. No perfectionism here. First is the biggest shading. Usually use this one to define depth. You need to understand it, at least how dimensional objects are to do this, I think. Depending on the coloring, I sometimes skip the next part, but this transition color is going to be a little darker and more saturated than the biggest shade, and will always be inside it. The last and most important part is occlusion shadow. This is the most darkest. It is the shadow that you put under areas that overlap each other. A bonus is taking the bigger shading and lowering the opacity in order to add more depth to the flat parts. Now that you color everything, you can blend everything out. No, it doesn't need to be perfect. You don't have to render every single thing. You can leave it how it is as you put it based. Part 5. Backgrounds. Believe your drawing is boring because there's nothing in the background or just a flat color? This is how I make it pop. One thing I do is outline, but that's optional. Or the base color, make it with the color that you want. I usually take from the reference. Now, you can also make it into a gradient. Make sure to make the shade the opposite of the color you already have. My background was darker, so I went with a lighter purple. The next step is to make random symbols that correlate with the character you are drawing. Since this one is space-based, I went for stars and swirls. This does not need to be perfect since it is not the focal point. Another thing is screen tone. Just make more texture. I just put it in an add and lower the opacity so it looks nice. Another thing you can do is add a border to make it look fancy. With this type of background, you can make it into a pattern and abstract an art fight. Part 6. Don't stress. This is the finished product of my example. You think it's perfect, right? Majestic? Bam! No, wobbly lines everywhere in perfect colors. I don't even use stabilization. And yet when you look at it from afar, do you really see those imperfections? No. So do care about the details. The more you care, the more time you spend for artwork. And when you let go of perfectionism, you can speed up the process. And that's all my advice. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out my characters.